Take three. Hello. It is the evening of September 24th, 2022. Hope you are well. So this evening we're going to talk about success. We're going to speak on the subject of what it means to be successful. This is something that I'm thinking about lately in my own life, and we're living in a funny time right now because the world changes and ideas change. And for those of us who are more mature, we've seen these changes and we've lived through these changes. And some of us remember a time where, according to society, success was this, and this. And then, depending on how far back we can go, it meant this, and then it meant this, and now in 2022, it doesn't really even resemble what it looked like 35, 40 years ago. A lot of the stuff that was considered an important part of success has been kind of shaved away. And it's just like, just the world has changed a lot. I was asking a person who's younger than myself about something. I said, I got this other person's address. I want to send them. And the other person's address, the person I'm talking about, they're in their 30s. Or late 20s, younger than I am. Let's just say that. We just gave away a lot of information. But anyway, so I was saying to this person, I would like to send this other person in their late 20s or early 30s, however old she is, I want to send them a greeting card in the mail. And the person was like, yeah, they didn't go like that. Why don't you just send them a text? And I was like, ew, it's so easy to just pick up the phone and push some buttons. Wouldn't it be nicer, if they got a card in the mail? I was like, no, not really. They're not going to care about that. They don't care. Just text them, say, hey, what's up? I was thinking about you. And, my brain, my dinosaur brain, I'm just like, but this and another thing. And I noticed that, I had talked to not too far back before that, I talked to somebody else about this subject, and they also kind of were like dissing on it. And I was like, what the heck's wrong with you? Cars are nice. Cars are fun. They're like, yeah, no, not anymore. I was like, okay. Of course, none of this has anything to do with success, but just showing that, times have changed, a lot. And I mean, we're not even going to get into the subject yet because I got to share this too. I'm a horrible texter. I don't do it well. People, it's just, I think if you're born into it, or you were still young when texting, it started to become a thing, then it's more natural to you. But I grew up in a time where you talk to people on the phone. And so I still prefer to do that. I don't, I just, we won't even get into it. I'm a horrible texter. And so, that's another thing. It's just, and when I call someone, they pick up the phone like, hello, like, you better have a goddamn emergency if you're calling me. Why didn't you just freaking text me? I was like, oh my God. I feel like I'm on a different planet. And so, it's just the whole world is different for those of us who are not in our 20s or early 30s right now. And not to say that some people who are older than that are, haven't been able to get with the program. Some of us haven't. And so, when we're talking about this idea of success now, it's like there's still a lot of the kind of, I hate to say old fashioned, oops, but there's still some of the old fashioned kind of feeling. So, anyway, that makes it a challenge because it's just because, obviously. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. So, anyway, that's one thing. The other thing about being successful in this day and age is that one of the things that has changed in the world is a smaller place, as they say. And information is, we are being saturated, we are inundated with so much information and so many ideas and so many ideals coming in at us constantly, because now we've got social media. We're just so connected. And now, whereas in the past, you might just bounce off some ideas that you have about something with a couple of your buddies or a couple of your girlfriend or whatever, your community, just your people. But now the whole world is the people. And there's a lot of judgment too, the world has become a very, not that there wasn't judgment before, but now it's just different. And you could afford to kind of feel your way through whatever back in the day. And, just a handful of people might be aware of what you're doing, and not that you're doing anything wrong, but now, because a lot of us use social media to do things, because that's the world now. And so now everything is just exposed. We're just so open and vulnerable to the whole wide world now. And everything travels so fast, and everything is calculated now. Numbers and likes and followers and blah, 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 blah. It's really, it's become, we went from 50 miles an hour type of lifestyle to 500 miles an hour lifestyle. Like, it's just incredibly overwhelming. You got all of this noise, all these ideas, all this kind of really, it's just really, it's a lot. And speaking of social media, you got a lot of people who don't know their butt from a hole in the ground. I'm sorry, but people just chiming in. Just some guy who's in his basement shoving down pizza or whatever he's doing, and now he's gonna get on and he notices that you're doing something with whatever you're doing, and now he's got an opinion on it, and it's gonna show up. God forbid somebody says, yeah, he's right, you suck. I mean, it's just, and it can happen in a matter of minutes, sometimes less than a minute. If the thing is whatever, if it's fire, if it's like it becomes a trending or this or that, just whoosh, all of a sudden your personal business and I don't mean like super personal, but just like your thing is just open for the whole wide world to judge. It's brutal. It's brutal. And, there are some things that for myself that I'd like to explore, and some things that I'd like to do while I'm walking around on this planet. But man, my feeling is low key. Low key. You know, and I've had people that know me like, yeah, ooh, you're gonna do this, and then this is gonna explode, and then da 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 da, all this big, and I'm like, da 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 da, slow your roll. Not trying to do all that. Hell no. I'm kind of a private person. I'm not trying to have and it's no. Just, and so for myself, now the speaker is going to share a little bit. My idea of success is not, it is what it is, and it's not, it doesn't match up maybe with other people's, and I know it definitely doesn't match up with many people's ideas of success, and that's okay. And that's really the point that we want to get to right now, is when we're thinking about what success is, in this day and age, it's really difficult to have enough silence and to cut out the noise of all these voices and opinions that are going to chime in on what we're supposed to do with our life. It's really challenging for us to withdraw from all of that noise and just say to ourselves, within ourselves, and don't bounce off of anybody and asking their opinion, because they're coming from they have a whole lifetime story that they've experienced that wasn't yours. So, I mean, it's nice sometimes to talk to friends or whatever, but ultimately, we got to sit with ourselves and say, okay, what is my picture of success to me, apart from all the noise and all of this and that and the other thing coming in from the outside? How do I feel? What do I want? Is it money? Do I want to be rich? Okay, well, now you know. Is it, I want to help people. I want to serve. I want to travel. Whatever it is, we got to figure out. We have to be clear on what our own idea is of success. That's not an easy thing to do, because if we have relationships with anyone, and not even talking about the whole wide world around us, our relationships, sometimes the people that we know, they have ideas for us, and sometimes they're well-meaning, and they care, and they want to share, and sometimes their idea of success for us is not our idea of success for ourselves. They see us as their sister or their daughter or their mother or father or friend or or the guy who, oh, you're the guy who we all know that this is you. And so we have a certain expectation because that's who you are. Well, we got to break free from that noise, even with the people in our inner circle, because just because they love us or just because they have feelings toward us or whatever, that doesn't put them in the driver's seat of our life. We got to sit down and figure it out. If my goal is to be a millionaire, let me pull out the calendar, put a big old red X on a date on the calendar, say by that date, I want to have, that's my goal. That's my idea of what success means, is that by that date, I will have $1 million. Well, then go for it. But be prepared, whether that's your goal or something else. Not everybody's going to have your back. And we just have to be prepared for that. Maybe our goal is, I want to simplify. I got too much shit and I don't need all this shit. I know there are people living in the world who have a fraction of all the crap that I own. So that's what I want. My goal, my feeling for success is that I'm going to live a simpler life. I'm going to have less and then I'm going to have more. You know what I mean? Being philosophical. But so if that's our goal, then that's our goal. Do it. Other people might say, but you already don't have anything. What are you going to blah, 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 blah. Okay. People have the right to their opinion. And what do? We nod and say, oh, that's interesting. And we do what we want to do. Because it's our life. We're in the driver's seat. When we're adults, we don't have to explain ourselves to other people. Hey, I love you. Thank you. But I got this. I made it this far. And I'm going to do my thing. And if our goal is to have our name up in big old flashing neon lights for everybody to see and be famous or have this certain image or whatever it is, do you. If that's where your goal is, do it. Because we also live in a world where, it's got so weird. I swear to God, it's not even the same place anymore at all. But, we live in a world where it's like, well, I want to be enlightened and I want to do good and I want to serve and I want to give back to my community. And I also want to be, I want to live like the Kardashians live. And I also want to be able to, I want to be famous and I want to be a famous singer and I want everything. I want it all. And it's like, oh, wow. Is that really what you want? Or is that a lot of that is the chiming in of all the voices? I'm sorry for that funny voice, but you needed to know that's not it's not me. So I did the funny voice. But anyway, so, it's a lot. It's a lot. And we want to be clear. It's like, okay, what's the number one thing? Because figure it out. We got to figure it out. I have to figure it out for me. And I feel like I really have come close. I've shaved off a lot of the nonsense stuff that's not really mine. And it feels good to let go of other people's expectations for what my life would be successfully. It's like, But once you figure it out with clarity, what it is that you want, then that might mean some of the other things. Maybe if being happy, just being happy. I want to be happy day to day. Well, if that's really your idea of success, you might not be famous or you might not get the $1 million because you got to prioritize. And we're not saying you can't, but set it up like what has to come first and what truly belongs to you. You see? And I'm really oversimplifying this, guys. I know, but that's just for the sake of time. Obviously, I don't know you guys. I don't know, other people and what. And there's, it's a really complex thing. A lot of the things that we think we want is, if not most of it, is tied into our early years here and some of the things that were inculcated in us as to what's right and wrong and good and bad. And a lot of that stuff is still left behind in us, but it's not really ours, yet we're still carrying it. And just there were certain expectations that were put on us early on, and it just became a normal way to meet up to expectations of it could be so many different things going on. But at the end of the day, the question is, what do you want? What do you want to do with your life? Be in the driver's seat, and to hell with what other people's opinions, that's the bottom line. Because it's okay for people to share, I think this and that. Maybe you'd like to do this or that. you can share it. But then when you persist and it's like you're trying to jump in the driver's seat of my car and take over, that's when it's okay, to hell with that. No, because it just makes it harder for us when we're trying to please everybody and to meet up to the expectations. And sometimes we take on these expectations ourselves that other people have set up for us, and we have to kind of filter through that stuff and say, okay, you know what, I'm not promised tomorrow. I don't know how much longer I got to play around in this place, to be in this place and do my thing. And so why don't I just do what I want to do? And, I wouldn't want to have conflict with other people, but I can't sacrifice what I want to do with my life to appease other people, Anyway, I don't know, maybe one day we'll make another part to this, because I'm sorry, we really simplified it for time's sake. That's not for the sake of time. I don't like these to go too long. But anyway, hopefully that was informative or resonated with anyone out there. Because these are the times we're living in, and these are the challenges we're facing. So hopefully that did resonate with someone out there. And as always, we want to wish you much love. Bye.